Beautiful souls, welcome back to my channel Breathe and Balance, where we talk about everything related to regaining balance in all aspects of our lives, mainly through spirituality, metaphysics, energy medicine, and self-work, inner work, right? So last week we spoke about reclaiming one's power and stepping into one's sovereignty, why this is important and how it can be done. So today I want to expand a little bit on one aspect we spoke about that day, which is important to, reclaiming that power and stepping into sovereignty, which is owning one's truth, or grounding in one's truth, standing in one's truth and authenticity. So what exactly do these expressions mean? What does it mean to have one's own truth? What is my truth, right? Isn't there just one truth out there, right? Can each person have their own truth, right? So let's delve a little bit into this, right? It's a very interesting topic once again, and can talk, for a long time. But I'll try to share like 3 key points today. And the first one is that we have, like each person has their own inherent truth as a human being and an individual, right? Which is different to and apart from the truths that we have been given or attributed through social norms and belief systems and so on and so forth. It's different to the social truths or the collective truths. And those that have been ascribed to us. For example, like let's start with, okay, if I ask you the question, who are you? You'll first and foremost say, okay, I'm so and so. So I'm Chathuri Jayasooriya. I'll then refer to my, let's say, profession or the job title and my age and where do I live and, and various different aspects to my outer identity, if I may call it, like a social identity. This is how we identify ourselves and present ourselves to the world, so that there is this identity, right, by which we are known to others. So that is necessary, of course, as a social being. We all need that identity for social interactions. However, is that your whole truth? That may be a part of the scribed truth. But here, what I'm talking about is the truth of me as an individual and as a being, right? So, for instance, society might say, okay, so you're born into this particular culture and this particular gender, this particular nationality, ethnicity, religion, or whatever. Therefore, you need to behave in this way. You need to speak in this way. You have to adopt these values, morals, belief systems, and ideologies, and so on and so forth, right? So, as a woman, let's say, or even as a man, right? Okay, you have to get married at such and such an age, and then you have to have a baby or children, and then you have to have this kind of a profession or a job in order to be accepted, or earn this much to be successful, to be considered as successful, and so on and so forth. So there are the boxes to tick, and there are these social collective agreements as to how we need to live in society. So that's a social truth, a collective agreement, right, that most of us subscribe to. And fine, like, if you resonate with it and if you believe it, if you feel that that is your truth and that you can accept it and that gives you contentment, by all means, there's nothing wrong with that. This is not a judgment about what is right or wrong. This is just talking about, that the fact that that my truth can be different to your truth and social truth. That's all that is. So I can believe, for example, okay, um, it does not resonate with my truth to, like, let's say, get married and have children and follow all these social conventions, right? My truth could be to be independent and live independently, a single, as a single woman, and do what I'm really passionate about, um, and cultivate different kinds of connections with my friends and family, animals, trees, and things like that. But I do not subscribe to the social conventions of getting married at a particular age, giving birth and leading life in that sense, just as an example. So I might be going against certain accepted social norms, but in that instance, I am standing in my own truth. I accept, okay, the social truths or what the certain ideologies and norms, standards, whatever they may be, accepted and agreed upon by the collective does not fit what I believe in, what I feel to be true to me, right? So these truths actually, I feel, have a lot to do with, belief systems and values, morals, and things like that, right? So each one of us has a set of beliefs and values and principles, so on, um, that resonate with us in order to lead a life of contentment and also to experience certain things in life that helps our own evolution as an individual, as a person, right? So so this is one aspect, that it's something inherent in us. Like, even though, let's say, I am born in Sri Lanka as a Buddhist, so on, some of my beliefs may not really tally with the group consciousness or the collective consciousness of Sri Lankan Buddhist, if I may refer to it as such. I may believe in, a broader spirituality, whether it's Christianity or Buddhism or Hinduism or whatever, certain truths based on my own individual experience in my life may even contradict the truths that were given to me through these religious institutions, for example, right? So this is where a lot of conflicts start happening, as you move through society, especially when you feel that, okay, I can't really accept or believe what the collective is accepting and believing. So I'm going against the collective agreement, but I need to be a part of the collective, this particular group as well. I mean, you can apply this to any social group or any setting in your life, where you feel that there is a particular agreement to a particular truth. I mean, truth you can substitute with the word belief or value or any of it, right? Or a certain practice or whatever. So I'm using the word truth, because there's a resonance. By truth, what I mean is actually at a deeper level, energetically, it's a resonance. Resonance as something that you can accept, that feels like a solid sort of an agreement within you. I can resonate with this, I can resonate with what this person is saying or what is happening or this belief system, this value, so on, right? So therefore, okay, the first point that I want to bring in is that regardless of whatever the society or the social group that you belong to might believe in or agree upon, what I believe in might, uh, resonate with it or not. I can have a truth that goes beyond that or that is contradictory to the social norms and beliefs, etc. Right. And that is perfectly okay. And at this point, let me also um, add the do no harm principle, which I think underlies everything that I'm sharing on this channel, which is that, you know, any concept, anything that anybody says can be taken to an extreme. And, people can ask us, okay, then if I have my own truth, then what about a person who believes that he has the right to steal or do something illegal, let's say, right? That goes against uh, social norms and rules and things like that. So there I would say, yeah, that person can have such a belief, but we need to have the discernment to, understand, okay, there are boundaries to everything, every relationship, every concept, everything, So let us not go into any extreme, So whatever I say or whatever anybody says, please take what resonates and, leave the rest. As I said, this is a very good opportunity for you to apply the concept of your truth into it and really use your discernment to understand, that it's not about extremes, and we are certainly not advocating anybody to do harm, right? So within those boundaries of doing no harm to anybody, we can understand that we may, have something called one's own subjective truth. And let me now move on to the second point of this subjective truth as opposed to a social truth or a collectively agreed upon truth, and also another person's truths. So let's say, given one situation, you are there and several other people there, or at least one other person is there, and you are having a conversation, right? So can you always see eye to eye or agree upon everything that the other person is saying, or can they agree with everything that you are saying? No, right? There are so many occasions where we don't find resonance, or we simply put, we can't agree with what the other person is saying or how the other person is perceiving or viewing a particular situation. Let's say something happened, right? And we are all there experiencing the same situation, but each and every person is going to have a slightly different or a very different understanding or an experience, the subjective experience and the perspective and the perception of it can be very different. Like, we often take the example of standing in front of a mountain, right? So depending on where you are standing in and, how much you can see, one person can be, semi-blind or, and another person can be very short or tall. And we can all bring in one person can be colorblind, right? So based on all these things and more, and what you think of mountains and things like that, and what you prefer, uh, how you see the same mountains can really change. Like, and one person can be on the left, the right, top, bottom, from where you stand, you see the same mountain in different ways, right? So similarly, any situation in our lives can be viewed in such different ways by different people based on the programming that is running in our mind at that moment, right? So this is another reason that often leads to altercations or misunderstandings, conflicts, so on, because we expect the other person to see everything from our point of view, right? Through our truth. We assume that my truth is your truth as well, which is often not the case. Of course, there are points. There are, like if you take a Venn diagram, this is what we actually call the point at which the two circles meet, the vesica piscis or the mandora, where the two truths can meet with each other and there's a resonance. And you say, yeah, I also see the same thing. I agree, there is a matching energy. But then the rest of the circle where it's not intersecting are the points of disagreement where you see different points or through different angles, but that does not mean that either is an untruth. Both are truths. It's just that it's not meeting. There's no energetic resonance, right? There's a different vibration at which the energies are vibrating at a different frequency, right? So I have in that particular situation, I see it in a particular way, filtered through my belief systems and values and so on and so forth, the programming. But that is true to me. That is how I see the situation, right? But depending on your programming, you see a different truth altogether. And you might have different information than I do, right? So the point being that we all have our subjective truth. And that's okay. And these, that's why we say, opposite and contradictory truths can coexist if we allow it to, if we have that maturity to understand that we all have different perspectives based on the perceptions of reality. And I'll talk about these perspectives and perceptions in a later episode, because that's also something that really needs to be delved into to understand, how these truths are actually being created, and for what purpose. But for now, let us just understand that, we can have these contradictory but coexisting truths in the same reality, or actually different realities can be created within the same time-space continuum because of these differing truths, different subjective truths. Okay, so I hope you're still with me and following me. Always feel free to leave a comment below if you need me to, expand on any of these concepts or clarify. I'm very much happy to do that. And it is always like a conversation with all of you. I'm just sharing whatever that I have learned over the years in my own journey and whatever that has helped me, because the moment that I understand, okay, there are parallel opposing truths which can coexist and I allow it to coexist, there's much more peace and harmony than when I'm colliding with opposing truths, coming from other people or situations or whatever. Then your mind becomes much more open. That's the purpose, as to why we are discussing this in the first place. And the third point is about time, like how time impacts these truths. Because as we keep evolving our perceptions and therefore our perspectives of reality and our own truths also evolve. They keep changing. So which is why I would say it's a good idea not to really hold on so tightly to what I believe is true right here, right now. So that is why I often refer to it as my truth in the here and the now. Right? It may change the next moment, the next week, month, year, whatever, as my perspectives change based upon the experience that I receive as I navigate life. So this applies to all of us. We keep shifting. Nothing lasts forever. Everybody knows that everything is transient. And so are our experiences, our life experiences and these truths, till we reach that ultimate truth, whatever we choose to call that. Everything else is a subjective trait, right? But it is very important within these three aspects of my truth, one's own subjective individual truth that I was talking about, to really understand, to gain a deeper understanding, I would say, of who am I and what is my truth in the here and the now, right? In order to be able to claim it, embody, and express it, which I will talk more about in the next episode, because it is this expression of truth that allows us to be sovereign and claim our power. That is where a lot of people uh, find difficulty, in expressing one's truth. But this is where it needs to start to really, by really understanding or understanding what my truth is, right? So just to sum it up, my truth is an inherent truth as an individual, as a human being, different to social or collective truths. And number two, it's a subjective truth, uh, different to the truths of another person or people, and different, contradictory, opposing truths can coexist. And number three, truth is subjective, subject to time, and it can change with time as we evolve. So it's not something permanent, right? So I hope this, what we spoke about today in terms of one's own truth, will illuminate your path in your journey of self-discovery, awakening, and evolution. And happy to connect with you individually also, if I can help you in any way to support your journey. Okay, so have a wonderful day ahead. And as I always say, take a moment to pause and breathe out and just settle into your body, where you can find a lot of your deeper truths. As you connect more and more with your body in the here and the now, that is where you're going to find your truth, in the here and the now. And that is the only shift that we have. Okay? All right, till we meet next week. Bye for now.